So spectacular moments. They're new this year as well. What
Yes.
really caught everyone's attention was the ring breaking in the initial trailer. What can fans expect from these moments, and which is your favourite?
Well, fans can expect a whole bunch of jaw-dropping moments from the spectacular moments this year. As you mentioned, we have the ring break implemented this year for the very first time. A very, very cool, situation that occurs in the game. It was one of the reasons why we wanted to really put that out there at the beginning of our campaign. But outside of the ring break, you can perform superplexes to the outside of the ring, which is just devastating. I mean, I've seen matches where people have teased this action, but it's very rarely that you see someone actually perform it. But W13 is one of the many, bone-crunching slams you can do to really, knock the wind out of your opponent. We've got, interaction with the announce table, which, we brought back into the game. And in the past previous games, players have been unable to stand on the announce table and really perform actions on the announce table. And the reason we removed it was because the way that it was working in previous iterations of the game, it was pretty buggy. There are a lot of instances where there's a lot of floating on top of the announce table. So we wanted to remove it, and we had all the intentions in the world that once we actually did bring this functionality back, we were going to bring it back and have it function in a way that was high quality and to the standards that our fans would expect. So that's what we did this year. So, it's infinitely satisfying, climbing on top of that announce table and pedigreeing an opponent through the announce table and watching the commentators react. That's really cool, spectacular moment of mine. Also, the barricade break, being able to put an opponent through the surrounding barricade is really, really cool. But as far as my favorite spectacular moment, hands down, it has to be the catch finishers. I just think they're awesome. Like when you talk about an OMG moment or a spectacular moment, I mean, this is what I envision, and being able to replicate these actions that super kicking an opponent who's springboarding in at you. Do you remember that when Shelton Benjamin did that to Shawn Michaels
I do, yeah, it was great.
on Raw? You can now relive that and replicate that in WWE13, and it is amazing, Paul. It's my favorite new aspect of the gameplay this year. I love them because these catch finishes can be performed from the top rope as well as from springboarding towards an opponent, and they're time based, which makes them I'm not going to say difficult to do, but they're definitely not easy. But I think it just makes it that much more rewarding when you're actually able to successfully pull one off and then go for the pin. It's just a great way to conclude the match. It's definitely hands down my favorite new addition this year.
Yeah, it's good because it's got the element of surprise in there as well, where if you go for a barricade and things, you know what's coming, where you can hit them sort of just out of the at any moment.
Exactly.
Going back to the announce tables, the moves that we're seeing in the trailer, the rock bottom and things, are those set finishers or can we execute any move on top of the announce table?
The way it works is that the OMG moment that you can perform on the announce table is something that is decided within a custom moveset. Players can on their own freely go in and change this move to their heart's content, but each superstar definitely has a move that they can perform as a finisher on top of the announce table, and we try to keep it as representative of the superstars as possible. As authentic. That's why you see The Rock when his finisher is the rock bottom. If you want, though, you can go in and change that to a standard DDT if you like, but we just wanted to keep it authentic to the characters, which is why you'll see Triple H pedigreeing his opponents to the table. The Rock will do his rock bottom. But in addition to the finishers you can perform, you can also just do a regular move on the announce table, which we'll call it the break. It's not as powerful as using a finisher, but just giving players that much more freedom and as far as what they're doing in a match. Because sometimes you're close to that announce table, you may not have a finisher stored, but you still want to put that opponent through it. So we still allow players to perform that action.